Now. Ta-da! And we are live. Thank you for tuning in to Learn and Laugh Out Loud. I am your host, Sumair Abro. And today I'm really excited because the guest I have today, I just spoke to her once, and within 3 minutes, I decided that you have to be on my podcast because more people need to listen to what you have done so far, and more importantly, what you're planning to do in the future. So here is the big reveal. Our guest today is Ashley. Thank you so much for being on the show. Ashley, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So before we get into the Q&A, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience and see what happens?
Yeah, see what happens. Yeah, story of my life, right? Hi, everyone. I'm Ashley Kesner. I'm blogger of Ghost in My Bedroom. If you're unfamiliar with my story, I started sharing my recovery from alcohol openly after years of struggling with that use. And through that and through the power of vulnerability, I have discovered who I really am. I'm now sober 279 days today, and I really could not be any happier. I'm all about kicking ass, and that's what I continue to do.
Speaking of kicking ass, and we'll get to all of that, your journey, what you're working on right now. But as the format of the show, as you're familiar,
Yeah.
we start with something silly. But today, my first question to you is actually a mystery I've been trying to solve. And I was wondering if you can help me. So, are you ready for the first question?
Oh, hit me with it.
Okay. So, what do you think? What did people eat before Chick-fil-A?
Oh my God. So listen, this is hilarious because I had for years. So I live in the middle of kind of nowhere in the middle of Pennsylvania, small town. The nearest Chick-fil-A to me is an hour away. Okay, an hour. It wasn't before the age of 31 that I had even tried Chick-fil-A. And needless to say, it's become one of my favorite fast food restaurants. Not only, it's really funny. I don't know what people ate. If you read the story behind the business, and I know this because I had done an entire project for my business administration minor on Chick-fil-A because I loved it so much. But the story,
I did not know that. So this is a surprise to me.
yes, listen, I'm full of it. I'm full of stories. You can say something like that. But I really was interested in the company because there was a lot of controversy around them, and they've really swam out of that hole pretty well. But how they run their business is really unique, and I think it's great. But yeah, other than that, I don't know. Chick-fil-A is it for me. Nugs for days.
I can see that. I can see that. So, thank you for sort of clarifying the mystery. I wanted to now get more into what you're doing. I wanted to ask you, Ashley, I mean, what was with the mental health that you've talked about and addiction? Do you remember like a tipping point where you said, enough is enough? I need to do this? When was that?
Yeah. So I had reached a really awful place when it was September 28th, 2019. My daughter's father was deployed over in Poland for the year. It was towards the end of the deployment, but I say I was working 4 full-time jobs. I was a single mother to our daughter. I was working full-time. I was in school full-time, still trying to finish my degree. And I was an alcoholic full-time. I use alcoholic there for the context. I don't like labels anymore, but for context purposes, I need to use it there. I had reached such an ugly place, trying to drown myself every night. mainly, I think, I didn't know who I was. I was still living to try to impress others and have this different facade of success. I was working at a large bank as an investment trader. And it all just kind of came to a head. I ended up quitting my job because of drinking. I actually say that was one drunk decision that I don't regret doing, because I
love that. I love that.
Because I was miserable. But it all kind of came to a head there. And I was self-harming at night as well, on top of drinking. And I made a plan and I attempted to take my life. Luckily, unsuccessful. And I woke up and was in ICU, thankfully without organ damage or anything like that, but went inpatient. And it was here that I kind of had that aha moment.
Yeah.
Look where I found myself. This was my second inpatient hospitalization in my lifetime. The first being when I was pretty young. I was about 21, I think, so 10 years prior. And that one was for my eating disorder and some irrational suicidal thoughts and ideations. But this one, I knew that my drinking had come to such an ugly place. It had left me a shell. It had turned me into a person that I was not. And I knew that. And, in the middle of inpatient, I found AA, the big book, and started reading it. And at this point, I was apprehensive about calling myself an alcoholic because I wasn't drinking every day, but my binge drinking when I was doing it. Just to give you a little perspective, I'm little, like very little. I'm only 5'2", about 105 pounds. At this point, I was about 130 pounds. But I was drinking in one sitting about 28 beers, which is a lot. I'm surprised I don't have liver damage, to be honest. But I was having a hard time admitting it to myself. But as I started reading the stories in the middle section of the big book, especially, it's for the kind of sober, curious, unsure people. I related to it hard, especially one about a single mom. I remember breaking down in tears. And it was from that moment that I was like, okay, I have to do this. And unfortunately, though, as ready as I was to be sober when I got out of inpatient, I was still surrounded in the same environment, in my apartment, alone, same friends, and same mindset. And as much as I tried to be sober, I fell back into the vicious cycle again, over and over again. I had gone to a couple of AA meetings, and it was nice to relate to people that knew kind of my mindset. But from where I'm from, it was still a challenge because the generational gap in the meetings, it was like, me sitting there, a 30-year-old, and I'm sitting around a table sharing war stories with people that are 60 years old or older even. Really, really difficult. And in that experience, there were times where I felt belittled. There were times, I'm not sure if anybody's familiar with 13 steppers. 13 steppers are people that are in seniority, sobriety, and kind of are inappropriate with those that are vulnerable. And I had that experience. And so I fell back into the drinking because I didn't want to be in AA anymore. It wasn't for me. I fell back into the drinking, and I found myself in bed in my worst depressive episode, as I am diagnosed with major depressive disorder. I felt like a failure and ashamed that I couldn't do this. And I just remember laying there feeling empty, feeling so much guilt. My daughter's father had taken her from me. So, that was kind of my only reason to live at that point. And it was here that I contemplated again and said, I have two choices. I can try again and take my life, or I can start over. And something in me, or higher than me, I still don't know at this point, said, you have to do this and get it out. That's when I wrote the breakup letter to alcohol as my first blog entry. And I posted it to my Facebook page, admitting to my family and friends that I was dealing with far more than I was letting anyone see, and reintroduced myself as Ashley, and I'm an alcoholic. Scariest moment in my life, not gonna lie. Sitting here waiting to press that little post button, but it was life or death for me. And it was the only way in my mind that I knew how I could stay accountable, because I am from a small town. So I knew that if everybody knew, if they saw me out at the bar, Ashley, what are you doing here? So that was kind of how my mindset was. And as much as I was worried about criticism, I got everything but. And from that moment, my entire life changed. And it sometimes still brings me to my knees, because the power behind vulnerability is limitless.
Absolutely.
And that's what I really try to help people see, and to help people break through that comfort zone, because once you do, it's a really magical place.
I love the fact that you have tears, but you also have a smile on your face. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm very thankful. People are always like, if you could go back and change it, would you? And I say absolutely not. I'm thankful for my depression. I'm thankful for my brain being wired a little bit differently, that I can't drink. It put me through the worst so that I could find my best. And it's a really good place.
Very cool. Very cool. Thank you for being so real and sharing that, and having tears and a smile on your face. I'm getting goosebumps, and I'm getting motivated just listening to you. We have a comment. Let's check it out. What someone wrote. Hey, bro. Hey, Benoit. So that's an easy enough comment. Benoit is like an old friend, and he lives in France, and he's always tuning in. So thanks a lot for tuning in, Benoit. Now, I wanted to build up on what you just talked about, and wanted to learn more about some of the things now you're doing to help other people. But before that, I think it's the right time to ask you another of the questions that I have. Look at the smile on your face. Okay, what are you going to come up with now? So what is your favorite angry word, go-to word?
Do you really want me to say that out
loud? Only if you want to.
Fuck is the best word for literally everything. One of the things about, and I'm not ashamed. I really am not. One of the things that is unique about me, I'm very unfiltered and raw and in your face. My blog is the same way. So if you're going to read it, my perspective with that is swear words are the best release. Sometimes you stub your toe. What's the first thing you're going to say? It's not going to be, oh, ladybug,
or golly.
Yeah. So that's kind of where that comes from. But I am very, very unfiltered and raw and in your face. But, at the same time, my perspective on that is, if swear words are what are offending you in this world with everything happening, I just feel sorry for you.
That is so cool. That is so cool. I think that, the swear words need to be the least of our worries.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. I want you to tell us more about your blog, but there are a couple of other comments. I just wanted to show them. So, Nicole Ann Smith says, "Thanks for sharing your story, Ashley. That is pretty cool."
Absolutely.
And Susanna is saying the same.
Oh, thank you, guys.
So you have a fan following. So what I want to know about now is your blog, right?
Yes.
Tell us about your blog. I mean, why are you doing it? What's the purpose? And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So really my purpose from the beginning was to share my story so that in the event that anybody could read it and relate to it, that they wouldn't have to feel alone. With that said, the other purpose behind it was to be as real and honest as possible so that I could kind of work through some of the issues I was having with myself. I started journaling when I was an inpatient. They gave everyone a journal, and I realized quickly that I had a lot to say when I was in there. I almost filled up the whole thing in a week. But when it came to the blogging, I chose blogging, one, because my hand cramps up really easily. And two, I did want to be vulnerable with my story. One of the other reasons I didn't really like AA was, I hid my pain for 15 some years. I didn't want to hide the best part, and that was my recovery. So that's another reason I did it. I always write for myself. I do kind of write to an audience, but at the same time, I'm writing how I would speak to someone too. And I think you kind of get that vibe. I have kind of a cynical, not clinical type of way of doing things.
I like that. Can you say that again? Cynical, not clinical?
Cynical, not clinical. Yeah, I use that hashtag a lot.
That's a hashtag in the making.
Yeah,
it's done.
I'm kind of cynical and sarcastic by nature. I'm always cracking jokes. I think, that's where my viewpoint is too. And my point of view is that the shit is just too serious. And I actually, I started sharing memes and everything on my Facebook page. There's one that it's my biggest coping tool. I love it. Because I think it's better to laugh instead of crying. So there's one that I just remember that really, I was in a depressive episode and it kicked me right out. And it said, why is it okay for Sleeping Beauty to sleep all day, but when I do it, I'm clinically depressed? And I just remember laughing my ass off. And I'm like, this is what's missing, like this real part of it. When people are having an anxiety attack and they're all like, life. We don't want to read about the statistics of how many people have anxiety attacks. Reach out now. How are you feeling? My perspective is, and how I kind of treat my recovery coaching too, is, you don't have to feel like shit.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Yeah.
You don't. You really don't. That's why I'm real about this stuff. And that's why I incorporate humor, because I just don't think, treating someone like children, treating someone in this almost protective shell, like they're so fragile, is always the way to handle it. And it works. I think, to my knowledge, that from the people who have told me, I've helped a little over 30 people start their sober story, and one is enough, but that many, and I can't imagine. Out of the last time I checked too, I think over 32,000 have read, and there's probably many more that have read it and just didn't reach out, but it's working, and I'm going to keep doing it, and I keep sharing because I keep learning. And the other purpose of that is to document where I was, mindset to mindset to mindset, and my transitions. And I do mention in the blog, where those happen. I've had 2 spiritual awakenings since starting this within 9 months' time. And that's incredible. That's
incredible.
That's monumental. And leaves me speechless too.
Very cool. Very cool. Now I want to learn more about your blog, which is called Ghost in My Bedroom. I love the name. And I want to learn more about how you are helping others to overcome a lot of challenges that you have had to. But before that, I wanted to share 3 quick tips on mindset. You talked about mindset, and this is one of my plans that I'm going to share 3 tactics in terms of how to have a positive mindset. So, tactic number 1, accept responsibility for your own actions. That is the key. I see a lot of people, and I've been there. Trust me, I've been there, not taking responsibility of my own actions and blaming stuff on the circumstances. Yes, I do understand that we do not all have the ideal circumstances. Having said that, the actions we take, we need to be responsible for them. Number 2, learn to give before you're ready to take. I mean, that's one of the things which is the key to having a positive mindset. Go out and help people, in any manner you can, and you will see how much comes back to you. It's a fact. I've tried it. It works. So yes, tactic 2 is learn to give before you are ready to take. Lastly, and I think Ashley is a prime example of that. Stop living in the past. Learn from the past. Look at the past, not to make the same mistakes, but live in the present and live for the future. And I think that is something which will help you to do so many things, because there's so many things we can do. I was listening to Ashley earlier, and she was saying that she's small, she's 5'2", but she has a big fight, and she's doing all these things, and so can all of you. Yeah, I love that. And this is a unique episode because we've been having tears and we are laughing. So maybe I should change the name to Learn, Cry, Laugh Out Loud. Too long, right?
Yeah, you're good.
Good. We are good. Okay. So before I get into another question about your work that you're doing, I want to throw another brain teaser at you. Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay, here we go. So let's try this one. What's your party trick or unusual talent?
Really? You're asking a sober person what their party trick is?
My bad. Hey, a sober party. Sober party, right?
Party, yeah. But listen, I have a whole sober bar in my house.
You got me there.
Yeah. My unusual talent. Oh, I don't know if I have any unusual talent. Usually, I actually do consider this a talent, and it might be kind of serious, but I think it's genuinely my talent, and that is to be so comfortable with myself that it allows other people to be their self. I tell you a funny story about this because I treat everyone the same. I'm all about equality, and I don't give a shit if you're a CEO of a company. I'm still going to tell you to keep kicking ass. I tell everyone that. But it's just really funny. I've had a lot of meetings and just different interviews and stuff, and you have people that show up in their suit and tie, and they're like, "Hello, how are you today? I'm so happy to meet you." And here I am with like a bun and an old T-shirt, and I'm like, "Hey, dude, how are you?" It is really, really awesome though to see the guard drop and for someone to let their hair down when you are uniquely yourself and authentically yourself. And I think that's what I bring to the table, and I think through that, I'm able to connect and empathize and support and encourage the best way I know how. And that's as me. That's my part of
it. Because, a meeting is never boring if you start considering it as a party.
Yeah.
So, and I totally believe you what you said. When you're authentic, the guards come down.
Yeah.
You don't have to match in pace with everything which happens out there.
Yeah.
Very cool. I am so impressed with that answer, man. So I wanted to now ask you about your plans. Before that, tell everyone that how long has it been that since you've been sober?
279 days. I just hit 9 months. Yeah.
So that is your party trick.
That's my party trick.
That is your party trick.
I'm fun as hell. I realize that I am just as much as a prick sober than I am drinking. And the good part is I don't wake up with a hangover the next day. No anxiety. So yeah, that's my party trick.
Awesome, awesome. So tell us about your plans with your blogging and how you took this bold step to recover. How will you use your knowledge and your new business to help other people? What's the big plan? What do you intend to do?
Sure. For the longest time, I thought I was going to be in banking. I had mentioned before that I was an investment trader for years. I had been working on my degree for over 13 years. I just graduated with that. Actually, a couple
Congratulations.
months ago. Yeah, I think I kissed it like 37 times. It was really great. But through my recovery, I think I was only about 3 months in, truthfully, of being sober. I had discovered certified peer specialist training. And for those who aren't familiar with peer support, these are people that are professionally trained that have to self-identify with a mental illness or prior addiction that help others who are also in recovery. Now, this is kind of funny. I was sitting here and I didn't have a job and I have a little one to feed. And I'm like, what the hell am I going to do? I don't want to go back to banking. This popped up on Indeed, a job here locally for it. And I said, you've got to be kidding me. This can't be real. I can use my shit show for good. And so I applied and I told him my story and what I was doing with the blog.
Yeah.
And I took the training and I did it. And I worked in field for a little bit and I loved it. But what I quickly realized is that, my voice is better served to people who are ready to change and who may be who are sober curious, but just kind of on the fence. What I found with this other company is that I was working with a lot of individuals who had no desire to change. And although that's okay, that's just not who my voice is best served to. So a hashtag that started out as a hashtag from the very beginning, Free Your Ghost, which I put at the end of all of my blogs to represent the power behind vulnerability. I converted into a company, which is now Free Your Ghost LLC, and which is my recovery coaching that I'll be launching in April. I officially made it known that my doors are open, though. I cannot officially charge until April because of a prior non-compete, which is fine. But my doors are always open for anybody, and I'm very adamant about that because this was never about money or fame to me. It was always about freedom, and I want other people to have that. And so that's what I do. As far as everything else, that's what I'm doing with that. And I recently just signed an agent, and I'm starting the book writing process. That was something that I never expected to happen through all of this, but I'm so excited. It's going to have the same title, Free Your Ghost. And really my goal with that is to keep turning my mess into a message and put it into book form so that people can see the approach that I took and how I did it and where my mind was, and then use my stories in my blog to relate as well during. And hopefully by reading it, someone can go, oh, hey, this is me, and take the steps and free their ghost. Other than that, what else do I got going on? Listen, it's a lot of...
That is so cool. Turn your mess into a message. I love that. And hey, anyone who's listening out there, she's officially launching her business from April. But before that, if you know someone who needs help,
yes,
talk to Ashley. She's not your AA. She probably make you cry, but also make you laugh. That's the best therapy. And just on that note, we have a few minutes left before I ask you my last question. I wanted to ask you, recovering from addiction, alcohol, drugs, or anything is probably the most difficult thing that I can think of. Now that you've been sober for almost a year, and when you look at other people who are probably struggling to do this, like kick the habit and move forward, what do you think is the saddest thing which people who are addicted, they do not see? What makes you sad about that? Because at that point people do not see a lot of things which you now see.
Hmm.
What do you think that is? Or maybe a combination of things?
I think, just from my perspective now, I think what's sad about it is that, sorry, I put myself right back there. What's sad is that they don't see that what they are doing it's destroying them, and it's not taking you away from the pain. It's pushing you towards it. There's not a lot that can come good from choosing to use substances for your problems. One of the things that I realized that made my situation different was that my intentions for drinking were not just to socialize during dinner or, have one with a friend. My intentions were to get out of my own head and numb myself.
Right.
And when that becomes the issue, when you're drinking or you're using anything, food even, or gambling, whatever, when you're using it to escape yourself, that's your signal. That's your signal that something bigger is happening. My goal is to take away that sadness so that people see they're worth so much more, even when they can't see it. And my goal is to always continue to meet people where they are in their story. One of the biggest struggles of this entire world right now, and something that I advocate for, is, all of the invalidation that we get, all the criticism that you're up against. Anytime you say that you're hurting, you're combated with this: stay positive, get over it.
Yeah.
Someone has it worse. You won't get that from me, because I don't give a shit about anybody else. I give a shit about you.
Yeah.
And I care about how you feel in your moments and in your life, because your story matters. And the pain doesn't define you. Only you can do that. And that's why I'm always honored when someone comes to me and allows me to walk hand in hand with them as they write that next chapter. It's something that no paycheck can ever give me.
Beautiful. Love it. I wanted to I'm so glad that you said all those things. And I think that is one of the biggest challenges people face, because a lot of times when you're addicted, or with a lot of substances you abuse, your family tries and tries and they give up, because there is no end to it. And there is a way. The importance of believing in people that it could be done. There could be a turnaround. That's beautiful. Wow.
Yeah. Support systems need support too. And I really am all about that as well. I've talked to a lot of parents. I've talked to a lot of friends that have ones that are struggling. I'm not big into giving advice unless asked. You can go look at some of my posts for that. Unsolicited advice is not my jam. But if I could say anything, I would encourage people to always focus on pointing out strengths, not flaws, because that's what it's about. Keeping the focus on what we are strong in and what we are good at, not what we're lacking.
Very cool.
Spreading hope, not Rona.
Very cool. Well, listen, our time is almost well, we're a little over time, but that's okay. I'm going to ask you my last question, which is something which I ask everyone who's on this show, and here it goes. If heaven exists, and when you arrive at the pearly gates, what do you want God to say to you?
What up, dude?
Or do this, right? Because you mentioned
Yeah, whatever.
whatever.
Yeah, sure. Whatever. No, I just made a post about terms of endearment actually, because I get really butthurt when people call me young lady and sweetie and hun on professional networking sites. I'm fine with dude. That's cool.
Okay,
But yeah, that's really funny. But yeah,
young lady. Wow.
welcome to the party.
Welcome to the party. I love that. But listen, thank you so much for your time
Thank
and
you.
your laughs and your jokes and your tears and the real you. It was just so fascinating. And also, I think I need to connect more with you because you have such great one-liners. Turning mess into a message. Support systems need support too. You come up with all these cool things to say. And anyone listening out there, mental health, addiction, they're serious problems. And we have people like Ashley out there who are ready to help. So reach out to her. I'm sure you will not regret it. Thank you so much, Ashley.
Sure. Yeah. And I just want to say, for anyone, the website is freeyourghost.com, and that has my story there with the blog link and more information about what I do. But it also has all my social links. So if you are out there and you're teeter-tottering on, the sober curious scale, reach out to me and we can chat. No judgment. Swears allowed.
Thank you so much. And anyone who's out there listening to us and watching us, if you like what you see, go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/SumairAbro, subscribe and hit the bell icon. And that way, you will always get a reminder in terms of what's going on. So have a great, great day. Have a blessed day. Bye, everyone.